Thank you. I'm going to give you some sense of what's been happening in the first week here at the negotiations and what our expectations are in civil society for the second week. I'm sure many of you know that we're used to arriving at the end of the first week of a COP with some problems on the table, but still some progress on technical issues and some sense of the shape of what a deal might look like by the end of the second week. I have to say that on this occasion, I'm struggling to see where that progress is going to be made and what the shape of that deal looks like. We've spent a lot of time in this process building the machinery for a new climate regime, building the institutions and the mechanisms that we need in order to be able to transform our global economy to a low-carbon economy. But the machine we've built here is silent. Nothing is moving. The cogs are not working. And the reason for that is that there is simply not the will amongst the governments who participate in this process to make that machine work. And sooner or later, those who are vulnerable to climate change and those who wish to transform their economy will walk away from a process that is not delivering anything for them. We know what the cost of climate change looks like. We know what loss and damage looks like. We know that it's lost lives and damage to economies over generations. Is it any wonder, really, that we're in a situation here where many countries are now saying, OK, I want to know who picks up the bill? In the teeth of the desperate events in the Philippines and a glimpse of what the horror of accelerating climate change will look like, we arrived here and we found two of the richest countries in the world not pledging more, but reducing the scale of their promises to cut pollution. The Japanese and the Australian governments came here, and what did they offer to the vulnerable? They reduced their ambition. And the Australian government during the course of this week has said that it's not prepared to pay the very limited, meagre amounts of money necessary to help the poor adapt to the impacts of climate change or to help those countries who want to transform their economies. That is a slap in the face. And it isn't any wonder, really, that people are wandering the corridors around here asking, why are we here? Now, that doesn't have to be the end. Countries can come here, ministers can come here this week and they can make a difference. But they have to demonstrate that this COP is something more than a trade fair for the fossil fuel industry, because that is what it looks like to us now. You know, the Australian government really comes here with almost no apology for the fact that it represents the interests of the fossil fuel industry. We have a coal climate summit in the middle of a COP. There are things to be done about it. Civil society is as anxious as anyone else that we should begin to prepare for a Paris deal and that there should be offers on the table next year around a timetable, around serious pledges on pollution cuts and on money. But it is very difficult indeed to prepare for a new deal in the run-up to Paris in a context in which nothing is being delivered against existing promises. Ministers are going to have to come here and convince us that this process is relevant to the transformation of the global economy. Otherwise, they, the process, and everything we're trying to do here will increasingly become a farce. They can do that, but they have to begin right now.